And I think that turns on the transcript as well, I hope. Okay, so we've got a quorum. So let's call the meeting to order. It's 5:01 by my watch. I'm gonna share my screen and then I'll pull up the agenda. Okay, so there are can folks see the agenda for today?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. The agenda is approve the previous meeting meeting minute notes, updates, partner discussion, and if we need the executive session to do that. Any of OCCUD, VCPB updates, status of our grants, the approval of the warrant, any other business, and set next meeting time and adjournment. So any questions, comments, discussion about the agenda before we move to approve it?
I'll make a motion to approve the agenda as presented. It's Larry.
Thanks, Larry.
Seconded, Chris.
Second? Well, thanks, Chris, for seconding. Any discussion, comments? Okay. All those in favor of approving the agenda signify by saying aye, please.
Aye.
All opposed, say no. Okay, the ayes have it. The agenda is approved. Previous meeting minute notes. I am not sure I have those. Jessica, do you have those from our last meeting?
I don't think I was here at the December meeting, Tony.
Okay, I think
So-
I think Laura is the one who took the notes, and I don't have a copy of them. So I think I would suggest we table approval of the meeting minute notes for
Don't
now.
believe I posted anything to the website either. Usually Amanda forwarded them to me and I posted them to the site.
Oh, you did?
I did not see.
Oh, okay, all right. I thought I misunderstood you. Okay, so since we don't have them, I would suggest we table this until next time. In terms of general updates, not very much has happened during the holiday season. So really the big things that we need to do in this executive session are discussion about the project manager and hopefully approval to move forward there and to approve the warrant. So I'm not sure if anybody else has any general updates, but that's where I don't have any. Okay, partner discussions. We've got our next meeting coming up on Friday. If anybody wants a more detailed discussion, we can go into executive session, but really we haven't done anything since, but there are we haven't met since the last time the executive committee met. So there really aren't any big updates. Number 7, Larry, do you have any OCCUD updates?
Am I on mute? Yeah, I'll fly through these. OCCUD met January 5th, 2023. There is a OCCUD committee or a working group is working on a document regarding the role of a financial advisor for OCCUD to be available to all CUDs. And the grant is looking for funding from Northern Borders Grant. There's strategic planning. There's a committee on that one for 2023. It's either going to be the executive committee or the governance committee. One of the bigger ones is there's going to be a legislative day for VCBB, OCCUD, and all the CUDs to go up there and meet with both a joint committee meeting with the Senate and the House to engage our local reps. That date has not been totally locked down yet, but that's the one they're looking for. So each CUD would send someone to do a presentation on where they're at. Again, the meeting is scheduled with the joint committee from the Senate and the House And then we'll be meeting with the governor. We all-
So
right
Larry, is
now
there
we-
any action for us there? Do we have to do something, or
No,
we don't
Right
need
now
to
we have
supply a
con-
body?
yeah, we haven't need a body. I got a question there. We have confirmation from the Senate for the meeting as of January 5th. We're still waiting to hear from the House. And again, we'll meet with Governor Scott after. He's a big proponent of, so yeah, just a question of, it's up to you, Tony, of who would go up and represent Otter Creek at the
Okay.
legislative day, so.
Okay. Well,
I don't have a, I don't have
we
a
need-
problem with it, but it's your choice as chair. I don't,
Yeah, I don't have a preference one way or the other. So, anyway, I don't think we need to decide it right
no,
here.
it's not, no.
We can discuss it once the meeting time and date gets set.
Okay, quick one on the mapping. Both VCBB and Vacuda are calling on the FCC to update the mapping to be more accountable. Vacuda will support the resolution regarding the mapping update, but then Rob Fish spoke up stating that timing is not best at this point. And he stated that the mapping project or product is a subpar product from a contractor. The other news that Southern Vermont CUD has hired an executive director. Next Vacuda meeting is January 17th.
Okay.
Yep.
And sorry, any questions for Larry on the Vacuda updates? Okay, I don't have any questions. Just Larry, once you know the final date time for the meeting, if we can just discuss who's going to go, and then we can open it up to the floor. I'm happy for anybody to go. I skipped over number 6 by accident in the agenda. So I think we this is one of the 2 things that we definitely need to have a discussion about today. So as in the last, or in the, I think it was the emergency executive committee meeting that we had last month, the executive committee authorized us to search for a new project manager to replace Amanda's company. We got 1 proposal before the original date, and we extended it to see if there was any other interest in for anybody else to issue a proposal. We didn't get any other responses. So can everybody see this
Yes.
the proposal? So this is the company that gave us a proposal. It's Vantage Point. They're I guess they're not really very big, but they're not tiny either as a consulting firm, and they have some experience doing this type of work. A small subcommittee of us met, Larry, me, Tim, and Bill, to go over the proposal and decide whether we thought these folks were qualified to take on the work. The consensus of the little subcommittee was that these folks had the experience and qualifications to do the project manager work that we are asking for. The only concern that came up, and it was I guess there were 2 concerns. The one is they don't really have a presence in Vermont, but I don't think that's not a deterrent from them being able to do the work physically. It's just, it would have been nice to have somebody based in Vermont to keep the money here in the state, but we didn't get any responses even after extending it. The only other concern that we had as a team is the rate sheet is a bit expensive. There's some good things. Their administrative costs are fairly low, as you can see down here at the bottom of their rate sheet, and their analyst assistant costs are not that bad. But once you get above that into any of the sort of some of the engineering costs are okay as well. But once you get into sort of the senior consultant or senior analyst or even the analyst level, they're quite a bit more than what we were paying for Amanda's services. We have believe it's like $300,000 in this next year for project management services. We have enough money. That's not really my concern, but it is a bit more expensive than what we had previously. I think Amanda was charging 110 or something per hour.
What are we looking for as far as level goes, Tony? For most of this, would we be looking for a senior consultant or analyst?
I don't think so. Really the most important stuff that we have that we need these folks to help us with or things like the grant reporting. In terms of the next steps for where we're going, we need to start on the pre-application process for the construction grant. That's going to be the next big chunk of work. I expect that our partner will do the lion's share of that work, but we're going to need somebody to help with that. And then the other big chunk of work that we have is the grant reporting and stuff like that, which these folks are very well capable of doing. And I don't think you need a particularly senior person to do that work.
Are we down in like the administrator levels there for that?
We might be. I've got a call with these folks on Friday. I think it's at 1:30 in the afternoon, just to it depends on what the executive committee does. If you give me approval to hire these folks, then the call on Friday was to be able to discuss that and try to hammer out an agreement with them. If the executive committee doesn't approve me or approve us hiring these folks, then the call was really to feel them out.
Tony, did they give you any idea how many hours a month they thought the project was based on the size of our project?
So what we put in the RFP, I think, and Larry, you can correct me if I'm wrong, was 25 to 30 hours a week, I think.
Correct. Yeah.
And that's Amanda was, I don't remember how many hours Amanda was doing. I think she did 50 hours, and like as an example, I think she did 50 hours in December. Most months she was doing I think 25 to 30, I think, is my recollection. I could go back through the invoices and stuff to look, but I'd like to discuss with them a not to exceed number that would give us some cushion.
Yeah, I think we're kind of caught between a rock and a hard place as far as getting help. I mean, we didn't get any other responses. And, I don't think it's, especially this day and age, to be engaging with somebody outside of the state of Vermont is pretty normal now. And especially in this kind of thing, now with connectivity and remote meetings and things like that is, the only way we would suffer from that is if they needed to be here to look at something physically or whatever. But other than that, doing this actual physical project management and grant reviews and stuff like that, the remote aspect doesn't bother me. Obviously, depending on what expertise that we need, and there may be times in there where we may ask and they say, well, you're gonna have to get billed for X number of hours at a senior level to get that part done, but all this other stuff may be done at a lower level, so I just think we need to, I guess, stay within our budget, right? Not to exceed our budget, and that's probably the most important thing, in that we get the work that we need done.
Yeah, I agree. Our budget, we have for 18 months worth of project management services, we have,
Yeah.
sorry, $318,000 is what we got approved in our construction or pre-construction grant. So we have plenty of money.
Yeah.
I was thinking probably keep them to a not to exceed number of, $10,000 a month to start with, just to see where we go.
Did we,
Anybody have a problem with that, or is that too
did we
much?
put
too
the
little?
RFP, did we put the RFP on the state site and the VLCT site,
Yeah,
and we got nothing from them?
correct.
It doesn't-
I think a lot of it, John, was unfortunately the holidays.
Yeah.
I'm really uncomfortable giving somebody basically a blank check up to $10,000 a month to do the job.
Would you rather?
With no real breakdown of how they see the rates going in, how they see the rates breaking out. Yeah, I would guess that most of the rates are going to be the lower rate people, but we don't have any way of knowing that.
Okay.
I guess I have two ideas. One is delay it for 2 weeks and put the RFP back out on the state site and the VLCT site, and maybe talk to some of the people who are doing the same work in adjoining CUDs and see if they have time for more work, or going with the $10,000 a month for a limited time, no more than 6 months, to see if they can do the job for $10,000 a month.
Yeah, I actually, your thinking is very similar to mine, John, that we set up with some relatively, I'm not, what am I trying to say? I would expect that they're going to work at mostly my direction, right? I definitely don't want to give them a blank check to spend, to bill us for 10 grand a month.
Exactly.
And I think that worked reasonably well with Amanda. I think part of the problem with Amanda was she didn't have, she went to look for a job to give her more steady income and more hours, essentially. She was, I think, doing somewhere on the order, like I said, 20 to 30 hours a month for most of that time. And like I said, I've got a call with these folks on Friday. You folks, anybody is welcome to join in and have the discussion. But I was trying to use the not to exceed number as to make sure that we keep ourselves to, a reasonable number, that we weren't going to blow through our budget. But I don't actually expect to spend that much per month.
I think, to John's point, to somewhat there, that I think, what you said, Tony, is you're going to give them work to do. And, we obviously have some idea what that amount of hours and stuff that work should take. So there is a check and a balance there. And maybe not even really tell them about a not to exceed amount, but we keep that more or less internally. Just, give them the work and see if their deliverables and the amount of time that they're spending on that is
Reasonable.
Is reasonable. And as long as a contract has a out for, we don't really agree on the work and the amounts, we can just terminate the thing is probably a good thing to have.
The planning commission wasn't interested in taking the job back?
No, and neither was the Bennington Planning Commission because they're doing the work for Southern Vermont. We asked them as well.
No, I think I agree with what you guys are saying. I mean, the only point is this is going to take a little bit more extra management. So, Tony, if you're all right with that, I'll help out what I can. But as far as I can see, like on the engineering side of things and
I don't
that,
think we're
the
gonna
direction
need
we're
much.
headed- What's that?
I don't think we're going to need much engineering.
Yeah, exactly. Well, that's exactly where it's
And
going.
their rates aren't that bad on engineering.
No, the
No,
engineering.
they're not. And I don't think we're gonna need a lot of like the higher level analyst type stuff. I think what we need is what they need is a project manager for this, and not a whole lot more.
Right. Okay. So, do we need I guess we need a motion to tell me what to do on Friday.
Well, I could make a motion that you go forward with this on Friday, meet with them, and I take it that in this agreement here, they actually have particulars. Is there a contract? Is there further terms and conditions that we need to iron out?
So they have they basically gave us this and
A proposal,
they're asking
right?
us
They
to
responded to the RFP.
agree and accept it. We have a contract that we used with Amanda, we could resurrect.
Yeah. So I would say you'd have to put something like that in front of them, to be more specific than just signing an RFP.
Okay.
So
All right.
we don't know you, you don't know us. We'd like to try this out on a temporary basis to see how it's going to work
Okay.
with with us giving you directions, and then to have an idea how it's going to work, they should invoice us weekly.
Okay. All right. Well, maybe we have a weekly check-in with how much what their hours are, I guess, maybe.
Yeah, or at least a weekly
Invoice-
check-in about.
Invoicing us
Weekly
weekly,
check-in,
probably
maybe
a lot of work for
bi-weekly.
Jackie that we don't need on.
You-
Okay.
You're not gonna want a weekly invoice, but I agree with John.
Yeah.
To get an update, like where are we at, what is the billable hours this week?
Okay. So I'm conscious of, so I'll meet with them on Friday. I don't know if I need a motion. I don't have a contract for anybody to approve.
Right.
I'll try to bring something to the full team meeting on Wednesday next week.
Yes.
And then we can,
I would say once we get that contract and, you feel like you got something solidified, then we can vote on that.
okay, fair enough. Okay, any questions, comments, concerns about this before we go back to the agenda and try to tackle the other item up here?
Just like to thank you guys for vetting that out and doing that. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks, Chris.
Sure.
Okay, with VCBB updates, I don't really have any big VCBB updates. There wasn't really much activity over the holiday period, so grants that we still have about $12,000 in the H315 grant. We're going to spend, I think, about $6,200 of that via the warrant. We've got some emails from Rob Fish about what we do with the rest of it. According to him, we can use it for project management services. So we might have another, not quite $6,000, I believe, that we can tap into for project management services if we need those. H360, we haven't really touched that yet. That once this project management stuff kicks off, that's when we'll be dipping into those funds. Any questions? Okay. All right. No, next up is the warrant. So I'm not sure, we did pay Vacuda's dues. We have had discussion with Vacuda. We had a discussion with Vacuda about our desire to get more value for our money from them. We need to keep following up on that. We basically we paid the dues for the first quarter to because we're still trying to negotiate with them on a little bit reduced fee for Vacuda. And then the Google Voice and Seward stuff is all recurring normal billing. And then Amanda spent about 50 hours, I think, this month. And a lot of that was around trying to wrap up and make sure that we pass on, the knowledge and the files and things like that. So.
Right.
I think Amanda went above and beyond, and I would make a motion that we approve these payments.
Yeah, seconded,
Okay.
Chris.
Any discussion of the warrant before we call for a vote? Okay. All those in favor of approving the warrant in the amount of $6,219.28 signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The ayes have it. The warrant's approved.
I guess the only other thing I would say is I think we need to still continue this trek with Vacuda because we're really not getting the value. So but I appreciate you taking that on, Tony.
I agree, Tim, that I think there's some good they've got a new chairman of Vacuda now. I forget her name. Her name's Ellie. She's the I think the executive director for Maple. Is that right, Larry?
I believe
Yeah, that
so.
sounds
Yeah.
right.
Yeah. And she seems a bit. She seems more. I don't know. Concerned that we get the good value out of our membership. The one thing I would say, like, this financial contract that they're looking to have, it's basically for a CFO for the various CUDs, and since we're not really going to need that, as another example of something that we probably don't have much use for.
Skin in the game, if you will. Yeah.
Say again?
Skin in the game, if you will.
Yeah. So
Tony, I've got to interject. I got to run, so I think we're all set with the voting for now, correct?
yeah, those are the two we've accomplished the two items that we needed, and we still have a quorum anyway because Andrew's here. So
Okay, thank you. We'll catch you later.
thanks, Chris.
Right.
All right, cheers. All right, so any other business? All right.
Yeah, I'll just add a little bit going on in Benson. I had a panicked call from someone who lives on the Orwell line who told me that the Maple Broadband was running fiber down Stage Road and 22A in the spring. And the way he made it sound, they just keep the truck rolling and roll right into Benson if we wanted them to. So I talked with Tony or emailed with Tony and did some work on my own. The problem, I came to the same conclusion that you came to, that Maple Broadband is more expensive for not as good a service. So I presented that to the Benson Select Board, and we have unanimous agreement to stay with Otter Creek. The other thing, I took the Excel printout of the FCC map with addresses and level of service And we got that to just about everybody in town, I think. There was about 180 addresses that had 25 tree or 100 over 100 service. And I have responses from a little over 50 people, mostly saying that they don't have the level of service that that the FCC map says they have. So I'll get that finalized and get that to you, Tony, tomorrow, because I think the deadline's Friday.
I think actually the deadline may have actually already passed, but the last I heard is that
No,
was
it's coming up
extended.
soon.
Say
Yeah,
again?
if not, it's coming up soon.
Yeah, I thought it was the 13th.
I
Okay,
think
it
so.
may,
I think
it
it
very
was,
well may be, John. I thought the date that I had in my mind was the 9th, but maybe I'm wrong. But anyway, get it to me and I'll get it to BCBB
Okay.
as quickly as I can.
Okay, I'll have it to you tomorrow by noon.
Appreciate it. Thank you. Let's see, next meeting date would be what, February the 8th would it? February the 8th, next meeting date. And we've got a meeting next week, which is what date is that? That's the 18th, the full board. And hopefully we'll have some more information and a more definitive agreement for the project management services after the discussion on Friday. Okay. Anything else before we adjourn? I make a motion, we adjourn at 7:32.
I'll second that motion at 5:32.
Oh, sorry, 5:32. You're right, Tim, thanks.
You're in the Atlantic somewhere.
Yeah, I'm in the Azores or something. Okay, all right. I'm going to stop the recording and then, well, I got to stop the
There's not
recording.
enough